The Houthis have been very clear about this. They're God-fearing people, guided by their morality of their religion, right? They actually have souls, unlike the leadership in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, who opened up their airspace for the United States and the United Kingdom to launch these attacks tonight. So they look at this situation. They said, you bombed us. You've starved us for the past 10 years. What do we have to lose? We're not stopping. We're going to continue blocking the Red Sea until you come to a just deal with the Palestinians in Gaza. We're not gonna stop this. Bomb us all you want. They said we were ashamed that we weren't being bombed yet, to be honest. In comparison of what the Gazans were facing in their plight, they said we were ashamed that we weren't being bombed yet. They've made them happy. The Houthis responded by launching a barrage of cruise missiles, surface air missiles, at the U.S. ships that were off the coast. Some reports indicate that a U.S. ship was not getting you those cargo ships back by bombing Yemen. Boom, 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 we're going to bomb Yemen. Boom, 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 we're going to bomb Gaza. We know there's plenty of actors in this region who are very upset with us. And we also know that we have all these U.S. military bases in Iraq and Syria.
But the Houthi do what the Houthi want to do. It ain't like the Houthi say, oh, big brother Iran's got to tell us what to do. The Houthi woke up and said, screw it, baby, we're going to war. We're fighting in defense of the Palestinians. And Iran's going, no, don't. We're trying to manage this escalation here. We don't want you. But the Houthi are the wild boys of the Middle East, and they're just like, yeehaw, go. And they start firing missiles, they firing stuff, and now they've done something that really hurts us, because this, I guess it's a Strait of Babel, or I can't pronounce it, but the little narrow thing on the, where the Red Sea comes in, the Gulf of Aden, there's a narrow little passageway where all the ships have to go through, and they're in the range of everything the Yemenis have. And the Yemenis have said, as long as Israel's doing what they're doing in Gaza, no shipping will be allowed to go through if it's heading to Israel. And they're sink. I don't think they've sunk stuff, but they've hit stuff, put it on fire, they've captured stuff. And so now what's happening is that, ships are very expensive, and the owners don't like their ships to catch on fire or be captured. And so they're diverting all the way around Africa, coming in the other way to get to Israel. And that's very, very expensive. It's costing Israel tens of billions of dollars of denied economic activity. And so the Houthi are actually very sophisticated here. This is a very sophisticated weapon that they've dealt the Israelis. And the United States is going, damn it, now we got to respond here. But if we respond there, we got to take those forces and move in here. And remember, we've already said we don't have any money for this. All those aircraft carriers that we deployed to scare Hezbollah, it's basically eating up the Navy's operational budget, meaning money that was supposed to be set aside for training and other things is now being spent on these operations, which means there's no training taking place. There's other things that aren't happening. And now you want to expand naval operations into this area. Where's the money coming from? This is why the U.S. Navy is calling up the Australians and saying, hey, get some of your ships up here right now. We need you to take care of the security. And the Australians are going, no, we're not going to do that. This is a problem for the United States because we don't have the force structure to do everything at once. And so the Houthi have dealt a huge blow, not only to Israel, but to the United States. And the only way that we could rectify this is to go to war against them. But the Saudis have been using American-provided aircraft and American intelligence since 2014, and they haven't beat the Houthi yet.
The Houthis. Who are the Houthis? The Houthis are Shiite Arab tribesmen that have finally become the major force in this place called Yemen, down at the bottom of the Saudi Peninsula, the Arab Peninsula. But they've been fighting for many years, at least up until 2016, for their lives and their survival against the Saudis and, guess what, Al-Qaeda. because Saudi Arabia enlisted al-Qaeda fighters to fight on the ground for them, while the Saudis and we bombed the Houthis. Why? Well, they're Shiites. And the Shiites didn't know what to do. They went to Iran and asked for help because they were the only people out there that would provide the Houthis with any assistance. They got it. And so obviously they were at that point an arm of the Iranian octopus. And so eventually the war ended in a stalemate. The Houthis were actually the ones that prevailed. Even in the United States, the terrible famine that was brought on by all of this had killed tens of thousands of people. Finally, in Washington, we said, oh my God, this needs to stop. We told the Saudis no more, we won't support it. So it ended. Well, now the Houthis have decided that they are Arabs. So are the people that we call Hezbollah. They may be Shiites, but they're also Arabs. The so-called Shiite militias in Iraq that are all, quote-unquote, Iranian-backed, which is the effort to try and convey the impression that Iran controls everything these people do. They're Arabs. The people in Hamas who are being killed in great numbers are Arabs. We're up to, 23,000 dead now. And so the Houthis have said, we are demonstrating our solidarity to our Arab brothers who are being murdered in Gaza. And until the efforts against them stop, we're going to make it miserable for commercial traffic through the Red Sea. Now, bear in mind, these are now much more sophisticated people than the ones they were a few years ago. They actually know who registers the ship, who's an owner or a part owner. And all of the ships that they've attacked, I think with maybe one exception, have had either real complete ownership or partial ownership by Israelis. And so they said, if you're a part owner or you own, because remember, the thing is flagged. It may be a Panamanian ship that flies some other flag, but it doesn't tell you who owns it, who's profiting from moving oil, liquefied natural gas, food, whatever. They've been able to find out. And it doesn't take much to stop commercial traffic. They don't have the newest and most lethal weaponry. They're using weaponry that's old, but is still potentially lethal. And they've had some success in damaging ships. They haven't sunk anything. But if you're an insurer sitting in London, like Lloyd's, you're not going to insure any ships that go through the Red Sea until this is gone. And we have been pushed and pushed and pushed to, well, you've got to go down there and do something. I mean, the Israelis want us to do something because the Israelis can't use their port of Aqaba. They can't get through the Gulf of Aqaba or down where the port of Eilat is. They can't move anything up through the Suez Canal and then around in the Eastern Mediterranean to Israeli ports. So the Israelis said, you've got to do something. So after much gnashing of teeth and so forth, we did. Now, keep in mind that the Houthis were prepared and they were actually informed before the strikes went in. So I'm not sure we did much damage. And friends of mine who are on the inside that looked at the target set told me that we were hitting targets that we hit back in 2015 and 2014. In other words, these aren't new things that we haven't struck in the past. So I don't think it had much effect, but I think it probably made Mr. Netanyahu very happy, and it made people on the Hill happy because, in theory, to go to war with Iran is the enemy. So I don't think it's had much impact on the Houthis. I don't think the Houthis are about to surrender and go away. I hope we don't try to land soldiers or Marines to chase them through the mountains down there. The terrain is terrible. It's a rotten place to fight anybody. The British were down there in Aden years ago in the 60s, and they finally said, to hell with this, and went home. I hope we don't bother with that. I wish we would talk to them and see whether or not we could come to some sort of arrangement. We know what their demand is, which is to stop what's happening in Gaza. We understand that, but maybe there's some room for discussion. We have this bad habit of sanctioning and bombing everyone that doesn't agree with us. It hasn't worked, and it's not going to work with the Houthis. But the real danger is we started this, and I apologize for the long diatribe. The real problem with this is it's really about Iran.